and I share my screen. I hope you all can hear me. Thank you. So today's verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 19th chapter, and verse number 5. And then we'll also be covering 119 and 6 as well. So we'll start with the Mangala Charan first. Om Agyanam Timirandasya Gyanam Vinashanat Yatash Nina Tasmai Shri Gurvai Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So verse as follows. Atho vihema mamum cham lokam vimarshitau he taya purastat Krishna grisevam adimanyamana upvashitam prayam amritanadyam. Maharaj Parikshit, translation purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods.
Haribo, Haribo.
Oh, Guru Maharaj, you're here? Brilliant. That's fine. We can start. Sorry, I didn't know. Thank you so much.
You sent a message yesterday.
Oh, did you? I didn't get it. I'm sorry. Yes, we can start, Maharaj. Please go ahead. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna.
Didn't you play any music at all in the beginning?
Yes, I did play, Guru Maharaj. Yes.
For about five seconds or what?
No. It was for I joined like 10 for about 7-8 minutes. I played. Sorry. Do you want me to play again?
It's only 4 minutes after 7.
No, we joined a little bit early, like because it was me only alone. I was giving the talk, so I thought I'll just start on time. But a few devotees joined, so that's why.
Srimati is supposed to tell you. I sent her a message yesterday.
Oh, she must be busy. I'm really sorry, Guru Maharaj. Please go ahead. Do you want me to play the kirtan?
No. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ato vidheyam mamum chalokam vimarsito heyataya purastat Krishnagri sevam abhimanyamana upavisad pradam amritya nadyam. Translation. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganga to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. Purport. For a devotee like Maharaj Parikshit, none of the material planets, even the topmost Brahma, is as desirable as Goloka Vrindavan, the abode of Lord Krishna, the primeval Lord and the original personality of Godhead. This earth is one of the innumerable material planets within the universe, and there are innumerable universes also within the compass of Mahatattva. The devotees are told by the Lord and his representative, the spiritual masters or acharyas, that no one of the planets within the innumerable universes is suitable for the residential purposes of a devotee. The devotee always desires to go back home, back to Godhead, just to become one of the associates of the Lord in the capacity of servitor, friend, parent, or conjugal lover of the Lord. either in one of the innumerable Vaikuntha planets or in Goloka Vrindavan, the planet of Lord Shri Krishna. All these planets are eternally situated in the spiritual sky, the Paravyoma, which is on the other side of the causal ocean within the Mahatattva. Maharaj Pariksha was already aware of all this information due to his accumulated piety and birth in the high family of devotees, Vaishnavas, and thus he was not at all interested in material planets. Modern scientists are very eager to reach the moon by material arrangements, but they cannot conceive of the highest planet of this universe. But a devotee like Maharaj Pariksit does not care a fig for the moon or, for that matter, any other material planets. So when he was assured of his death on a fixed date, became more determined in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna by completely fasting on the banks of the transcendental river Jamuna, which flows down by the capital of Hastinapur in the Delhi state. Both the Ganga and Jamuna are Amartya, transcendental rivers, and the Jamuna is still more sanctified for the following reasons. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desitarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, from the highest planet in this material world down to the lowest, all are places of birth, all are places of death. No, I'm sorry. From the highest planet to the material world, down to the lowest, all are places of misery, where there are repeated birth and death. So, therefore, when one takes the word of Krishna, because by hearing from Krishna directly, you get the absolute principle. You might think, well, there's some happiness in this material world, but that happiness is another form of suffering, which leads one away to actual real happiness, which is transcendental happiness, which is beyond material happiness. Therefore, a devotee can understand what is actually real happiness. At least they can understand from the principles of the activities of devotional service. Material life, people get some relief temporarily from some material suffering, and they consider themselves good or happy. But relief from material life is not happiness. It's just what it is, relief from suffering. If you're hungry, which can be also considered to be a point of suffering, and then you eat some food and you think, oh, I'm happy now. Yes, you simply counteracted your hunger. Because the principle of the material body is that it's deficient, and therefore it's always going through some different forms of suffering. And to relieve that suffering is this called material happiness, or that happiness which is material. Well, devotees don't take any real attachment or even real pleasure in such things, because they know the real happiness and the real success in life is, again, to associate with Krishna in the spiritual world and enjoy a loving relationship with Krishna eternally. And here, as Prabhupada says, as a friend, as a servitor, parent, conjugal lover, all of these relationships are here in the material world between different living entities. But the ultimate principle of these relationships is in its perfection in the spiritual world with Krishna, because Krishna is rasa, raso. He is the rasa vyosai, raso rasa vyosai. He is the king of all rasas, and everything about the relationship with Krishna is free from all of the inebrities that take on when one develops these relationships in the material world. Because even though there may be a desire to experience relationships in the material world by these different things, they're always fraught with various types of difficulties, and of course they end in due course of time also. But our real relationship with Krishna. So here it says that rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest of achievement, not only passing, but superseding all other methods. So there are 4 different types of ways that one can elevate their consciousness to a higher state through the different modes, coming to the mode of goodness. And then there's Karma Mishra Bhakti, there's Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. And there's various types of elevations to other planets. But none of these are actually desirable by one who understands the relationship with Krishna, because the relationship with Krishna is perfect, and it's the most deepest and most satisfying of all relationships. Nothing can compare, even the slightest bit, to our relationship with Krishna. So we see there are people in the material world, they want to develop some kind of spiritual consciousness or higher material consciousness, thinking that that will fulfill their desires for happiness. But no one's happy, because as Krishna says, anitya asubham, he says this world is temporary and it's full of misery. Sometimes we don't believe that. We think, oh, it's not like that. Krishna is just, he's just proud, or he just wants everybody to be with him, or he's just exaggerating. No, these are just some euphemisms just to get us involved in Krishna consciousness. No, actually, if we don't understand, we will experience misery, and it comes. It comes. Disease is miserable. Old age is miserable. Death ultimately is the ultimate principle of misery and suffering. And in between, relationships that never really develop beyond a certain point, fraught with so many different problems. These are all struggles of the living entity to find some kind of happiness in these relationships. So this world is a world of illusion and a world of suffering. And it's made that way so the living entity doesn't try to act out its desire for happiness in a place that it's not there. In other words, to be with Krishna is natural. To serve Krishna is natural. To love Krishna is natural. This is our nature. When you speak about something, just like the nature of sugar is sweet. If sugar is not sweet, it's not sugar. The nature of fire is hot. Fire is not hot, it's not fire. So if the living entity is not loving and serving Krishna, then it is outside of its nature, and therefore it is not really connected with its real identity. So to come to that stage is actually the process of bhakti. Maharaj Pariksit had perfected that stage, and now he's ready to take on to complete that stage by going back home, back to Godhead. And so here, this verse is, and purport especially, is full. And where did he sit down? He didn't just sit down in the room or in some place. He sat down in the most holiest place on the planet, the Jamuna River, where Krishna performed his transcendental pastimes when he was personally present. The Jamuna and the Ganga is called Amartya. Amartya means it frees one from the principle of death. Jamuna is is Krishna's personal loving river. Jamuna doesn't begin in this material world. It comes from the Himalayas into this world from that place in this material existence. There's Gangotri, there's Jamuna tree, the place where these rivers enter into the material world. They Ganga's coming from the higher planets. Jamuna is coming from the spiritual world. When Radharani was asking Krishna, when Krishna was asking Radharani to come to the material world for his next incarnation as Lord Chaitanya, she said, well, I'm not going unless Jamuna and Govardhan are going. And Krishna said, my dear Radha, my most lovable personality, they are already there. They have come to the material world to assist me in my leelas, in my upcoming incarnation. So Jamuna especially, she is very sanctified. And those who bathe in the Jamuna actually can purify themselves from more material desires, more material sufferings. So these rivers are not just water, they're actually nectar coming from directly from Krishna, from the spiritual world, especially Jamuna. So Maharaj Parikshit, he chose the Jamuna River as a place to perform his meditation. And that attracted all of the great sages and saints throughout the universe to come and see who this personality is, who has given up his kingdom of the world to sit down on the banks of the Jamuna simply to fast until death and achieve perfection in life. They were all curious. Hundreds of sages came, and all of them wanted to offer some advice to Maharaj Parikshit. But when they were about to do that, then Sukadev Goswami appeared. And this is what this chapter is about, the appearance of Sukadev Goswami. And everyone understood that he was the most qualified to give direction and guidance and spiritual knowledge to Maharaj Parikshit. So they all, when he came, they all stood up in honor of Sukadev Goswami's presence. Amongst the great sages and saints, there is no envy. They understand who is the best, and they acknowledge that by giving that person the opportunity. This is called Maryada Vaivada. If you're in the presence of a greater soul and you try to present yourself with not giving knowledge to others or presenting yourself as being learned, that is an offense. When one is in the presence of a great soul, they always acknowledge that other person's present and they speak and they give direction, because that way everyone benefits to the utmost. So I forgot that it's called Maryada. It means breaking the principle of speaking in the presence of a greater soul. Now, if a great soul tells you, please speak, then that is fine. You can do that. But one should not surreptitiously or just whimsically take the position of being the person to give knowledge when they are in the presence of greater personalities. That is a offense, and that is mentioned in the third canto of Bhagavatam. And so Sukadev Goswami, when he came, everyone simply rose in great happiness to honor the presence. He took the seat of honor, the Vyasa-san. Maharaj Parikshit immediately took shelter of Sukadev Goswami and was ready to hear the transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is that which sets you free. When you have knowledge, you're free. Even we preach in places like jails where people are locked up in some type of confinement. And we teach them that, yes, you're locked up, you're restricted. But this whole material world is like a jail. It's also restricted. But you're even more restricted within the material world. But you can be free simply by your consciousness. When your consciousness is on the transcendental level, even though you are restricted by physical arrangements, one is free because consciousness is actually life. So to purify our consciousness means to become free from all of the effects of the material energy. Consciousness is reality. Consciousness is, in its purest form, Krishna conscious. So here we have a very interesting situation here. Now Maharaj Pariksit will teach us as the cantos go on. We go on to the second canto, and all of the discussion starts to it. And stay with the Bhagavatam. It's the most deepest and most philosophical and most beneficial spiritual treatise on the planet. Just to have Bhagavatam available is the greatest benediction for the human society. Because by hearing Bhagavatam from great souls, reading Srila Prabhupada's purports in Bhagavatam, and practicing that knowledge, one can attain to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Bhagavatam is as good as Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop there and we'll open it up for some discussion.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the time and association. Devotees, if you have any comments, realization, questions, please unmute yourself and ask. You can also type in the chat box if you like, and I can read it for you. It'd be nice to have your cameras on if you can, please. Thank you. Now I'm going to... So while everyone is waiting, Guru Maharaj, I had a specific question about the river Yamuna. And it always comes every time I go to Vrindavan. I always feel like the condition of the river Yamuna is being changed since the time Krishna was there. So would it still be purified? Do we consider it is still it has the potency to purify the conditioned soul?
Yeah, because the coverings over the Jamuna means that the contamination that has been dumped into it doesn't affect Jamuna. She's transcendental to that, but it might affect us. So therefore, we should be, careful. But at the same time, even if you bathe in the Jamuna and there is other contaminations, still you'll get spiritual benefit.
And there is one more thing, Guru Maharaj. I've seen that in India that they leave the ashes, the dead bodies' ashes in the river. Is that the right thing to do?
Well, there's a place in Varanasi, Kasi, Benares, Lord Shiva's place. They go down to the banks of the Ganga. I think Ganga also runs through Varanasi. And they burn the bodies. It's a very regular thing. And then they throw the bodies, the ashes into the river, because throwing the ashes into the river means that soul gets some benefit from getting their bodily ashes thrown into the river. We do that regularly in Mayapur, but we immerse the ashes into it, not immerse, but we put the ashes into a urn and we take it out on the boat and we have a ceremony, and then at one point we open up the urn and dump the ashes into the Ganga. That's done every year during the Mayapur festival. And those who pass away, their relatives can arrange for them to come to bring their ashes to Mayapur and have that done. That's a regular thing. And sometimes it's done outside of the regular time period. It's usually done during the Mayapur festival, but it can be done throughout the year also. So it's auspicious for the departed soul.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. There is a comment from Shridevi Mataji. I'll read it, and then there is a question from Rishabh Prabhu on the chat. So Shridevi Mataji is saying Shrimad Bhagavatam 3:4:26. So she's copy pasted the purport, I think. Although one may be well versed in the transcendental science, one should be careful about the offense of madhurya vritti karma, or impertinently surpassing or a greater personality. According to scriptural injunction, one should be very careful of transgressing the law of Maryada Vetri Karma. So I think she's commenting on what you're mentioning about.
Yeah, it's a little known principle amongst devotees, but one should be aware of that. To try to present themselves as learned, more learned, or learned in the presence of someone who is more learned is a violation of that. Usually, just like for instance, if someone is giving a Bhagavatam class and a great personality walks in during the class, it's the etiquette to honor that person, to stop the class, honor that person, welcome that person, and ask that person if they would like to give the class. That is the ultimate principle of respect. Usually the great personalities just come and they acknowledge the speaker there, but at minimum, we should welcome them, that their presence has now made the whole atmosphere more auspicious.
Sorry, I just. Yeah.
And in spiritual circles, people who are wealthy are not as considered as important as people who are knowledgeable. In material circles, people who are wealthy are considered to be more important than people who are knowledgeable. That's material. So knowledge is a feature of bhakti. Krishna explains the importance of transcendental knowledge in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's like a sword that cuts through all of the illusions of material existence. When you have knowledge, you're free. Just like if you know I'm not this body and I don't die. If you're dying or you're ending your life, you know, I'm just going to go somewhere else. I'm not dying. My body is dying. I'm going somewhere else. I'm just the soul, will be transported into another situation, and I'll be living eternally somewhere. So if you know that, then you're free from the fear of death, because you know you don't die. So that's one feature of knowledge that's really important, to know that. Not only to know it theoretically, but to know it deeply. And another one is to know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all of the manifestations of the Godhead are simply portions or plenary portions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is Adi Purusha. He is the original source. That knowledge is also important. You know that out of all the manifestations of the Supreme, Krishna he's not a manifestation of the Supreme, he is the Supreme. Everything else is a manifestation or an expansion. Even Balaram.
Thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. Very sweet, very nice answer. Comment. Mm. There is a question from Vrisha Prabhu. I'll read it for you. Dear Gurudev and Vaishnavas, please accept my humble obeisances of Srila Prabhupada and you, Gurudev. Very interesting how many sages wanted to give advice to Parikshit Maharaj. That would be confusing to hear. Many different views of life. Great fortune that Sukhdev Goswami was arranged by Krishna. One question, if we are speaking to a new person or giving lecture, should we offer our place to any senior Vaishnavas by any seniority criteria or just to the significantly elevated souls?
What's the difference? What's the difference? What is that comparative difference he's making?
I think is comparing between the senior Vaishnavas and only the pure elevated souls who are Paramhansas, maybe, I think.
When we use the word senior, we mean those who are advanced, not any other category of seniority. I mean, there's a whole series of etiquette that is explained. Just like if there's two people who are equal in their transcendental knowledge, the one who is older by age is considered to be the person to allow to speak. In other words, we defer to that person. These are all principles of etiquette. When you enter into a room and your spiritual master's there and there are all other great souls there, even if your spiritual master is not the most elevated one amongst you, still you pay obeisances to your spiritual master first, then to the most senior one thereafter. There's a whole etiquette in understanding seniority and how it plays out in giving guidance and instructions to others.
So Prabhu has commented on your answer, Maharaj. He's saying, okay, the seniority is based on spiritually advanced primary.
Yeah. One should know.
Okay. Thanks. I hope that answers your question, Rishabh Prabhu. Any other questions, devotees? Yes, Divya Karla, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. Maharaj, my question is related to from your yesterday's class and today's combined. It's a combined question. Just wanted to check because it's there in the translation. It's very clear that how Maharaj Parikshit just sat down and tried to meditate on the Lord's qualities. So I was thinking that is it right for us to also try to meditate and think how we are going to die? Because we mostly try to meditate on a lot of things. We try to think about our future. We try to think about what's going to happen to us tomorrow morning, but we do not think about how we're going to die. So like Bhishma, they've also thought about how his death will be. He wanted to see Krishna. So is it a right thing that we should practice and try to meditate every day, and so that it'll be easier for us to see Krishna at the end of our life? Thank you.
Well, we don't know how we're going to die, and we don't really put much attention on that because we leave it up to Krishna. But we know one thing: if we remain serious in the practice of Krishna consciousness, our death will be in such a way that we'll get a chance to remember Krishna at the time of death, as opposed to not having that opportunity. So yeah, Krishna will arrange for the devotee to help him or her make that transition if we stay serious in our Krishna. If we're not serious, then we may get some more difficult situation. It's up to Krishna. We don't worry about dying. We just worried about serving. That's all. Death will come when it's supposed to come.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Divya. Any other questions? Yes, Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances for Guru Prabhupada Maharaj. Maharaj, this transcendental wisdom that you're giving us every day and that we're reading of every day, how do we get to a point where we're not shaken by our minds and we know it to be absolutely true right to the core of our bones?
Prabhupada said, I put everything in the first canto of Bhagavatam, all knowledge. He said the rest of the Bhagavatam is just a reputation, a repeating of everything that he put in the first canto, which is done as from different angles of vision, but the same essential philosophical teachings are explained in different ways throughout the rest of the Bhagavatam. I'm talking about the philosophical teachings, not the Leelas. So, yeah, it's there. So keep reading, keep hearing. The more you do it, the more it'll become a feature of understanding, and ultimately it'll turn into realization. This knowledge is the same knowledge of the soul. The soul has all this knowledge in it, but it's covered. The way to awaken that knowledge is coming from the outside through Guru, through Krishna, through the Shastras. So the process of hearing continuously is the process of awakening that knowledge, which turns eventually into realization in due course of time. So just keep hearing.
And Maharaj, can I
And clarify what you hear by asking questions. Yeah.
Maharaj, can I ask a slightly personal question? I see you as a realized soul. How do you feel with your connection to Krishna? Like when your eyes open in the morning, how do you feel within yourself? What do you feel? Happy? Do you feel like there's some bliss that we don't experience in our lives?
When my eyes open in the morning, I think I want to get to my japa as fast as I can. That's how I feel. Yeah, because that's my focus, to make my day begin with and develop on japa. I try not to waste any time doing other things, or I mean, there's different devotees who do other things sometimes, but not, my mood is to get to the holy name as far as, and therefore we don't wait till we get to the beads. We actually chant when we wake up. The first thing we do, and this is recommended, we offer our obeisances to our spiritual master, the first thing we do, and to our worshipful deity who we are worshiping. Like in your case, Radha Gokulananda. You would think of Radha Gokulananda, and you would offer your respects to Srila Prabhupada. And then you go on with your taking care of preparing your body so you can sit down and then start beginning your chanting. But during that time, you should also be in contact with sound vibration. In other words, I always listen to Mangalarti when I'm in the shower, sung by Srila Prabhupada, because I may not have a chance to go to Mangalarti. So I listen to Prabhupada, and I also listen to Prabhupada's Mangala Charanam, which is also nice. Mangalarti is 10 minutes and 23 seconds. Mangala Charana is 11 minutes and 11 seconds. So I spend like almost 25 minutes hearing Srila Prabhupada while I'm getting ready to begin the day with chanting. Stay in contact with sound vibration, and you'll always be in the best position to become Krishna conscious. Soon as we stop connecting with transcendental sound, all of a sudden we're back in the material world again. It's that clear. So during the day, chat. During the day, hear lectures. During the day, go to kirtans. Stay in contact with the holy name, with the transcendental sound vibration, read the books, whatever activities you have to perform in order to maintain yourself in the material world. Keep your consciousness connected to Krishna somehow. That's what it means to live, to become Krishna conscious. It's 24/7. It's not just at certain times of the day. When you go to sleep at night, the last thing you should be doing is either reading transcendental knowledge or chanting the holy name. Don't get into a lot of negativity before you take rest at night, because it will make your mind disturbed during the time you sleep also. Finish your day. In India, the tradition was, and still is there in many villages, that the last thing all the villagers would do before they ended the day, they would gather in a central meeting place, and someone would read Bhagavatam, Ramayana, or Mahabharata, and they would hear about the Lord's activities, and then they would end the day. Prabhupada writes about that, and then Prabhupada said, then they will dream of Krishna at night.
Thank you, Maharaj, so much for the inspiration. And I pray we listen and we keep doing this. Thank you, Maharaj.
The secret is just stay connected with the transcendental vibration. That's the secret. Somehow.
Thanks, Shilpesh Prabhu. Shridevi Mataji, did you have a question?
Thank you, Satyabhama. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. First, Guru Maharaj, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for making yourself so available to us and giving us so much mercy every day in the form of these classes. My most humble obeisances for this. I have a question regarding the purport. Here it is said in the purport that devotees have no desire to go anywhere except back home, back to Godhead, just to become one of the associates of the Lord. Now, I've also read that as one is going towards the spiritual world, one is given glimpses of all the other planetary systems. And if one shows any interest at all in any one of those planets, then that's where one lands. So for a devotee, obviously, we don't want to get distracted like that. But are there possibilities that a devotee gets so dazzled by some beautiful heavenly planet or something, and then, that's where he lands in spite of his devotional service?
That's what it says. That's the final test. But one who's on their way back home, back to Godhead, is already fixed in transcendental knowledge. They're not going to get attracted, but the possibility remains. They won't get attracted, but just to see if there's any tinge of material desire left at that time. So once you're fixed on Krishna, even though you might be tested like that, you won't desire that.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Shridevi Mataji. Jagdish Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, all humble praises to you and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I've got a question for you. I was watching a lecture at the Manor, and the Mataji said to actually chant good quality chanting, you need to have a spiritual master. So does that mean we all need to get initiated as soon as possible?
Well, by the grace of the spiritual master, one can make, when we say regular progress towards the goal of life. The first principle is called aspiring. It's not initiation. Initiation happens after a period of aspiring for the spiritual master. So one can apply themselves to aspire for a particular spiritual master and then work under his guidance. And then after a year, I think you're in the UK, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they have a whole system, and the system is designed to, to train people during that aspirational period. I think in the UK it's 2 years, I think. So
Yeah, it's 2 years.
Yeah, Satyabama is correct, 2 years.
Yeah, it's 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes about 1 to 2 year. It can be 1.5 year as well if a guru and disciple is ready.
That way you get to know the spiritual master, and you get to understand more about the process of bhakti. It's a period of experiencing. It's a period of ultimately deciding. This is mentioned in a Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami. Prabhupada talks about this. It's called mutual observation. The guru sees if the disciple is qualified, and the disciple sees if the guru is the person they want. But now we have that system where this system has qualified people to administer the process of devotional service, but still you stay in contact with your aspiring spiritual master.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, it's a system of evaluation, and it's a system of helping one come to a more, because we see in the past some people took spiritual masters, but then they gave them up really fast because they weren't really trained in the process of bhakti properly, or they didn't understand the process of bhakti, or they didn't understand what it means to have a spiritual master. So these systems that are set up, they're called the mentorship systems, are there to help the disciple go deeper into the process, get a feel for the practice, and to evaluate whether that person they're aspiring for is the one that they eventually want to take initiation from. So in that aspiring period, one can also change to another spiritual master if one is inclined to.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you, Jagadish. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Jagdish Prabhu. Is there any other questions? I just have one question about the Parpat Guru Maharaj. When it says that Golok Vrindavan is the topmost planet or place. So do we consider Golok Vrindavan as in Vrindavan and in on earth planet is to be the topmost as well? Like we have Puri, and some people says that Tirupati is also there, and Puri is there, Mathura is there. So do we consider Vrindavan as topmost because of Krishna's activities?
That's the way it's understood. One is prakat and one is aprakat. One is manifested and one is not manifested. Yeah, Krishna performed his spiritual practice, his leelas there. Non-different. But it takes vision to see that. Not material vision.
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj. Is there any other question? Last questions, otherwise we can, if Maharaj, if you have time, we can do one round of japa if there are no other questions.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready. If that's we got.
There is one question from Sakshi Mataji. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I always have this one confusion. Somewhere I've heard that you should take initiation from a person who is closer to you so that you get the opportunity to serve your spiritual master and take direct guidance from them. But from another person, I've heard that time and distance, it doesn't matter. So what exactly is true? Like, I always get confused. Yeah.
Both are correct. if you take a spiritual master simply by locality and not consider who you actually want to take a spiritual master from, you might find yourself disappointed in due course of time. So locality is an advantage in one sense, but ultimately the principle is that person who inspires you and who you can surrender to. That is the understanding.
Thank you, Maharaj. And somewhere else also I've heard, like from one person, I've heard that you should pray to Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu will help you reveal your spiritual master within. So, what type of prayer we should offer to Mahaprabhu so that he reveals?
Nityananda is the original spiritual master. He's Balaram. But that's Guru Tattva. Balaram, Nityananda is Guru Tattva. And so all of the spiritual masters either come from Lord Nityananda Balaram or they come from Srimati Radharani, depending on the level of spiritual masters. So yeah, pray. Pray to them for them to reveal who your spiritual master is.
Thank you, Maharaj. Your classes are always really inspiring and helping me with so many questions. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
We'll see you in September. Hare Krishna.
Waiting for your association and your darshans, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare.
Satyabhama there, she's a resident of Ujjain or Indore.
Indore.
Yeah, she's from Indore, Satyabhama.
Hare Bol.
Her husband also from Indore, right?
Ujjain. He's from Ujjain. Yes.
Hare Bol, Mataji. Are you also accompanying Maharaj?
Huh? Say again?
Is Mataji also accompanying you? I'm asking.
Mataji accompanying me. She sometimes comes.
Hare Krishna.
I'll ask her to come. You can ask her also.
I'll try.
Definitely. I really want to have association of the sincere devotees.
Mhm.
Thank you.
She's really sincere. She distributes books regularly.
I'm sorry. Sridevi Mataji has a question. She had a hand up for a long time. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead. Thank you. Thanks, Sakshi Mataji.
Guru Maharaj, I have a question about initiation, about just what you answered to Sakshi. One senior Mataji, she was talking with me. She has grown-up daughters. And she was telling me, Mataji, please try to talk to my daughters and convince them to get initiated. All spiritual masters, they are Prabhupada's disciples, and many of them will soon leave the planet. Then what will happen to these girls? I don't know. Like this, she was trying to tell me to convince the girls to select a guru and get initiated soon. Is this something that we should encourage the younger generation to hurry up and get connected, get formally initiated? Because many of them have grown up with all the Guru Maharajas. They have seen them from childhood. They know about them. They hear their classes. So should we sort of nudge them? Come on, time to take initiation, because you never know. Like Kadambakanana Maharaj said, all these disciples within a decade, they'll be leaving the planet, like that. So what should we guide them and tell them?
Well, I think it's more important to encourage them to engage in devotional service and push them in the direction of the activities of bhakti. And then once they get fixed in that, then it becomes easy. But if they're skipping over that and just want to go right to the spiritual master, then that's presumptuous. Better to just encourage them in their practice of devotional service. And every once in a while, we can also we explain that ultimately one has to come to the platform of initiation in due course of time. So it's also a consideration of the individual if they're actually practicing. Some people practice devotional service for years but never take a shelter of a spiritual master. And there's others who really want to go right to the spiritual master real fast. So both are not recommended. Practice, get a feel of devotional service, and then make a mature decision on who you want to aspire for.
So they should be guided to take shelter of the local authorities who will give them, appoint different devotees to give them devotional service and help them, guide them like that.
You just keep twisting my words around.
I'm not twisting, I'm trying to understand, Guru Maharaj. And you said you must encourage them to get fixed in devotional service. I'm just trying to understand how to connect them, like to the temple or like what?
Yeah, it depends. If they're going to school, that's one thing. If they're married, that's another thing. If they're, I don't know, depends on the person. What is their situation and how best they can get involved in devotional service. You can't use a generalization for everybody. It's not, it doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
That's why Prabhupada said it takes intelligence to practice devotional service. And if you don't have some, get some.
Thanks, Devi Mataji. So I've got a related question. I'm so sorry for this question again. It's kind of a similar question, but my question is how soon we should try and engage a new devotee who has just, started coming to the hearing classes on Sunday or once in a month, Bhakti Vriksha groups. So because they have not practiced enough to come to the temple on the regular basis, they just come on and off once in a month, but they're trying to come to the sanghas regularly. So how soon should we engage them in the devotional service, or maybe how frequently that should be?
You have to see, are they inclined to do service or are they inclined to chant? See where their inclination is and then push that. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to try to inspire someone to do some service. It's good for them. Yeah.
Sometimes fear is that, Good Maharaj, that I've felt myself that, like, if I ask them, I feel like they're asking because they are asking us to come and join the sanghas and things like that because they want things to get done at the temple, and it just, a bit of nervousness in my heart. I feel I always, every time I would ask someone new to do the service or get engaged.
Ask him, but don't push him.
Okay. Yeah.
You say we have this service that we need someone, could you take care of? Explain the importance of what service is. Service is not just doing something, it's actually connecting yourself with the process of bhakti, with Krishna through service.
Thank you. That helps.
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasa Govinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari Hari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. 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 Hare Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Mama, what time will we take a half hour? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for your association. Thank you. Yeah.
So we won't be here tomorrow, but we should be here on Sunday.
I'll let Srimati Mataji know.
Okay, thank you very much. Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much for today's class. Hare Krishna.